It was a tradition that made everyone uneasy, especially if you were a woman like me. In our village, deep in the heart of eastern Nigeria, only women with big backsides were considered beautiful enough to marry. If you were like me, with a smaller backside, you were often ignored, sometimes even called names that stung like sharp thorns. I remember standing by the river, fetching water with the other women. Their laughter echoed around me, their big, round shapes swaying as they walked. It was as if they were carrying their beauty with them, while I, with my small figure, felt invisible. Every man in the village would glance their way, admiring them, but no one ever looked at me like that. The village elders had made it clear for generations, a woman with a big backside was a blessing to her husband. They said she could carry children well and bring fortune to the family. Because of this belief, my life had been difficult. No one wanted to marry me, and people treated me like I didn't belong. It wasn't just a personal struggle, it was part of how our community worked. From the moment a girl reached the age of marriage, families would parade their daughters, showing them off to potential husbands. The bigger the backside, the more offers a family would get. It was like a rule written in the skies. My family had little hope for me. Even my mother, though she loved me dearly, would sometimes sigh when she saw other families celebrating the weddings of their daughters. I would hear the whispers of neighbors, "Poor Neka, will she ever marry?" And then, one day, the news that sent ripples of excitement and fear through the entire village spread. The prince, the only son of our king, was ready to choose a wife. It was the talk of every household, every corner of the market, every gathering by the stream. Every girl of marriageable age dreamt of this chance, except me. What was the point? The prince would never look at someone like me. The entire kingdom knew that only a woman with a big backside could sit beside him as queen. The day of the royal festival arrived, and the village was buzzing with excitement. Families from far and wide had come to show off their daughters, each hoping she would catch the prince's eye. My mother didn't even bother suggesting I should go. We both knew it would be pointless. But then something strange happened. As I sat in our small hut, helping my mother with some weaving, a messenger from the palace came to our door. He called out my name in a voice that shook the ground. "Neka, daughter of Udo, the prince has requested your presence at the festival." I could hardly believe it. My mother's hands shook as she pushed me to stand. "Go, my daughter," she whispered, her eyes wide with confusion and hope. I didn't understand what was happening. Why would the prince ask for me? But there was no time to question it. The messenger led me to the palace, where a crowd had gathered, and there, sitting on a raised platform, was the prince himself. He was tall, with eyes that seemed to see straight through a person. I had seen him before, of course, during village ceremonies, but I had never been this close. His gaze swept over the crowd of women, each one adorned in the finest clothes, each one trying to make her backside look even larger than it was. My heart pounded in my chest as I took my place among them, feeling small and out of place. Then, something unexpected happened. The prince stood up, his eyes scanning the women before him. He didn't seem impressed by the flashy displays or the exaggerated curves. His face remained serious, almost disappointed, until his gaze finally landed on me. "Neka," he said, his voice calm but strong, "come forward." The crowd gasped. I froze, unsure if I had heard him correctly. Me, the girl no one wanted. Slowly, I stepped forward, my legs trembling beneath me. The other women whispered behind me, their confusion and jealousy thick in the air. The prince looked at me for a long moment, his expression unreadable. Then he spoke words I would never forget.
For too long, this village has judged women by their size. But a queen is not chosen by her shape. She is chosen by her heart, her strength, and her wisdom. Neka, you are the woman I have chosen to be my wife.
The crowd fell silent. I could feel the stares of everyone around me, some in shock, others in disbelief. But the prince's words had sealed my fate. I had been chosen. From that moment on, my life changed. The people who once called me names now bowed when I passed. The women who laughed at me now sought my advice. And I, the girl with the small backside, became queen of the land. It wasn't easy at first. Some people still held on to the old beliefs. But over time, as they saw the way I ruled alongside the king now, who used to be the prince when we married, They began to understand that beauty is not just about appearance. It's about what's inside, the heart, the mind, and the soul. And so, I ruled as queen, not because of the size of my body, but because of the strength of my spirit. And the village learned that true beauty comes in many forms, not just the ones they had always believed. That is the story of how fortune smiled on me, the woman no one thought would marry.